Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, chapter 18, verse 37. Bhagwan Krishna in the last verse said, Hey Arjuna, listen. There are three types of happiness in which one rejoices. By practice, one can end all his sorrows. That is what Bhagwan Krishna said in verse 36. Now, verse 37. यत्तदग्रे विषमिव परिणामे मृतोपमं तत्सुखं सात्विकं प्रोक्तम् आत्मबुद्धिप्रसादजम्. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, the beginning of Satvic Sukha is like poison. When a person begins pursuit of self-knowledge, he finds it difficult because he is beginning to address himself. In the sense, you are going to see yourself, your inner face in the mirror. Prior to beginning this, you were in search of sense gratification. But when you turn and look at yourself, the sorrows you never gave a thought, the thoughts you never even thought you had, the bad thoughts, all come up because you are going to address them. It is like poison in the beginning because you require vairagya, maturity, dispassion, objectivity, understanding your mind. All these things are there. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, all these things are not easy. They require lot of self-searching. It is a painful process. Therefore, in the beginning, the spiritual pursuit is fraught with pain. A lot of effort is required in the beginning, and therefore, it is naturally painful. Naturally, when we see our inner face, we don't accept that. That is the problem. We don't believe, oh, am I such a worst fellow? Because you want to change from that to the better thing. Pariname. When there is a change in the antakarana, then there is happiness. Swami Dayananda Saraswati quotes Adi Shankara here, who says, it is born out of maturity in terms of understanding, dispassion, and so on. Vairagya is not a will based on denial, but based on understanding. This will is based on understanding. The happiness born out of that maturity is like nectar. Satvic Sukha is equivalent to nectar because it immortalizes you from mortal to immortal. It never goes away because it is Atma Buddhi, Prasada, born of clarity of knowledge of Atma, which is free from time. It is not born out of an object of this world. That kind of Sukha will naturally go away. It will be there for some time, and after some time it will naturally go away. When you want to enjoy the world of objects, Atma Buddhi means a mind which has clear knowledge of Atma. Swami Dayananda Saraswati gives the example of a clean river water. Now, I am sorry to say, in India nowadays, even Ganga is unclean. Even though we treat Ganga as Mata, Kaveri Mata, Ganga Mata, Narmada Mata, Saraswati Mata, all rivers are considered to be Mata, Guru, but they are all dirty now because our heart is dirty, nothing else. No other reason can be ascribed to it. But those days it was clear, crystal clear. Even though the water is deep, in the sunlight you can see the pebbles, the sand You can see the big rock so that you can avoid that while walking in the river. Neck deep water. So he Swami Dayananda Saraswati gives that example of that river at that time. That is the purity of Antakara. A mind with this kind of purity does not resist anything. It will not resist. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, whatever it is all right. Let it be so. That will be the attitude. I repeat, whatever it is, let whatever come to me, it is all right. Let it be so. That will be the attitude. That is the glad acceptance of whatever it is Atma Buddhi. Self knowledge itself is prasada, it's a blessing. The sukha or happiness that arises from that is not dependent upon any object or even condition of the mind, because it is knowledge, jnana. In the beginning, it is like visha, and after knowledge comes, it is amruta. This sukha is Satvic because the predominance of sattva guna is the reason for it. That is what Swami Dayananda Saraswati says. Swami Chinmayananda also says the same thing in a different manner. That is the beauty. I enjoy that. Swami Chinmayananda says, happiness, which in the beginning is like poison and very painful, but which, when it works itself out, fulfills itself in a nectarine success. That is enduring happiness. That is the sattvic happiness. Happiness that arises from constant effort is the happiness that can yield us a greater joy and a large sense of fulfillment. The flimsy happiness is gained through sense gratification. Whatever we eat, I'm thinking of that example. Badam alwa, it will give you a happiness. How long? 30 seconds when it remains in the tongue. The moment you gulp it, finish. Where is that happiness? Gone. So any sense gratification, whether eating, anything, you take anything, everything remains for a shortest period of time. It is a fleeting joy. After its onslaught, there is a terrific undercurrent that comes to upset our equilibrium and despondency. So initially it will give you joy, but after some time your balance of mind gets disturbed. That is a fleeting joy, not the sattvic joy. The joy arising out of inner self-control and consequent sense of self-perfection is no cheap gratification. In the beginning, its practice is clearly very, very painful and extremely arduous. Swami Chinmayananda says, having long remained in gratification of lusts and passions, sense gratifications, to muster the strength and resolve to resist their dictates with heroism is certainly not an easy task. It requires great inspiration, faith, gigantic will, and tenacity, born of clear conception of the hallowed goal, and of course, the techniques involved in reaching it. I am taking the entire words as it is. If you change even a little bit, it will lose its beauty. So beautifully put by Swami Chinmayananda. Thereafter, one must stay extremely alert. Not only you practice it, you have to stay extremely alert to avoid slips and falls by making constant adjustments within. In that case, what happens? Ego wanes with consistent sadhana, and the clamor of desires, they all will go away. In the silence of such a pure and collected mind, contemplation becomes steady, and the seeker experiences a sense of overwhelming peace and a all fulfilling joy. One who discovered within himself the necessary courage and heroism to walk the path of self purification and inward balance comes to enjoy the subtlest of happiness and the all fulfilling sense of inward peace. This happiness, Sugam, arising out of self control and self discipline, is classified by Bhagwan Krishna as Satvic happiness. Atma Buddhi Prasadajam, that is, it is born out of one's own mind, Atma Buddhi. By living the life of good and acting in disciplined self control, as far as possible. It's not that 100% discipline will not come immediately for us, at least for me. So, as far as possible, if you self control, maintaining sattvic qualities in all actions, one can develop the prasada of one's inner nature. Then, what is prasada? Atma Buddhi Prasada. What is prasada? It is the peace and tranquility, inexplicable joy the mind and intellect come to experience as a result of self discipline and contemplation. The joy arising out of spiritual practices due to inner integration is the prasada, which is sattvic happiness. The sense of fulfillment, the gladness of the heart, which comes as a result of his balanced and self disciplined life of high ideals and divine values of life, or the enduring happiness of all men of perfection. So, Swami Chinmayananda says clearly, what is it? Swami Dayananda Saraswati also says, initially it is like poison. Later on, it frees you. You maintain your mental balance. You are happy inside. Why there is so much of trouble in this world? If you think, I think nobody is happy inside. If you are happy inside, even if a person commits the worst mistake against you, you will not bother, you will ignore it. It's okay. His mental capacity is only that much. Suppose somebody, you go and scold a good sannyasi, you criticize him, write volumes about him, he will just ignore it. He will think, your knowledge is only that much. Why you are worried about me? You worry about yourself. That is what the sannyasi will say. The entire trouble in this world is because, according to me, no one is happy inside. If somebody is happy inside, automatically it will overflow outside. It will make others also happy. That is what I think. So, by practicing self control, self discipline, perfection, love for the divine, spiritual practice, according to what I understand is, these are all difficult. Visha in the beginning. What is this nonsense? Why at all I should waste my time? But in the end, what you get is something immeasurable. That is what you get. The example I could think of is the tablets. Nowadays, if you have a disease, you go to a doctor, 10 tablets he will write. Each tablet is big. It is like a big stone. My feeling is that. It is bitter also. You drink glasses of water to gulp the tablet. The water will go inside, tablet will remain in your tongue. The bitter taste, it will give you the bitter taste. You will curse yourself. What is this nonsense? But there is no other way. You have to consume that tablet to cure your disease. Initially, the tablet is like a poison. But later on, the same tablet cures your disease and you get in good health. So initially it is a poison, later on it is Amrita. Similarly, in my view, Bhagavad Gita, initially it is like poison. I am sorry to say this. Because if you start reading it, it is Visha. What is this Karma Yoga? What is Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga? What is Karma Sannyasa Yoga? All confusing. What is this Bhagavan Krishna telling? Oh, you cannot read it like a storybook. Thrilling, thrilling. You cannot read. Turn page after. I cannot keep that book down. See, many storybooks. I have also read some. You can't keep the book down. So interested. Bhagavad Gita cannot be read like that. It is very boring initially. But slowly, when you start reading it, one verse after the other, if you try to understand it, it takes little longer time to understand. Because my brain is so small. How can you understand the highest philosophy and psychology? But once the fire gets ignited, then it may take you to the supreme goal, to the feet of Bhagavan Krishna. It can cut you from the cycle of births and deaths. Initially, reading Bhagavad Gita is like poison. You don't understand it, you don't appreciate it. Something here and there, oh my God. Everything into different types of baskets, sattva, rajas, and tamas. Because we are all interested in easy things, easily getting. Why to spend time on Bhagavad Gita? Read something and earn money. Don't waste time. It is our natural mentality. But consistently, continuously, if one reads Bhagavad Gita, I am not canvassing for Bhagavad Gita. I am not any. Who am I? But I personally feel the one who is blessed will understand. Later, it is Amruta. That will not only teach you how to live in this world, even if you want to live the materialistic life. So much of philosophy has been given. How to live your life. Even Bhagavan says to Arjuna, you encourage everybody in their work. Don't immediately say, go to sannyasa. Encourage them. Josha, if you remember. So later on, initially it is like poison. Later on, it cuts one from the cycle of births and deaths. It gives you moksha. That is why Bhagavan says, I think, initially it is like Visha. And later on it is like Amrita. That kind of happiness is Satvic happiness. That one will surely get if he reads Bhagavad Gita. Only thing is in the young age, the age of 20 you should read, not at 60. Because at 60, 70, your life is going to end. I am not saying you should not read. But if you have read it at 20, then you can live a wonderful life. Keep your balance of mind. That is the main aim. We lose our balance. So, that is the point. Again, verse 37.
यत्तदग्रे विषमिव परिणामे मृतोपमं तत्सुखं सात्विकं प्रोक्तम् आत्मबुद्धिप्रसादजम्.
Next verse tomorrow. Arihom Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu.
नारायण 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 नारायण